Hello, welcome on my YouTube channel. Yes, I take a lot of engines out of each other, and every time you can watch how I'm doing it and learning from it, and find the things that is broke or you want to fix. So the oil nozzles inside the cylinder head, because the cylinder heads are already removed. That's not the engine in the earlier movies, this is another engine, and then I have two engines standing there. I also take them apart. Take them out, no problem at all. Use plyboard screw, simple screw, new, strong, sharp, and you get them out. So that was the first advice you can take from me. And always keep them in mind, keep them stored, put them in a box or something. Then you know where they are. So, okay, next one. This is a cx500 Eurosport 500 engine, the cx500E, also known as the cx500 Eurosport, a later model, and yes, it's with an automatic distribution chain spanner, and that's not the one I like, because they are a little bit more faulty than the original ones. But the originals, the old ones, you have to adjust them more times with the hand, and that makes for some people that it is difficult, but believe me, I like and prefer the old one. So yes, no problems at all. Remember, always put a new gasket there and a new oil seal. It's normal O-ring, nothing strange about it. I do not know how much oil this engine has, but I think the dipstick, it's gone. It looks dry, and that one is strange. I throw that away. That's not the one I'm going to use, but I want to take it off the engine, so give it some force and nothing happens. But what can I see about the oil filter? Take the oil filter out. There is a ring. Oh, that's not common. Okay. Looks fine. Looks fine. Oh, there is damage. I see a black sludge. I think the distribution chain spanner or the automatic spanner is broke, or one of those elements is faulty, because it's grinding the bolt on the camshaft plate and the end of the engine. We figure it out later on, and this bolt is not common for me, so I throw this away. It's strange. I think there's something yes, there is something welded on. I throw this away. Remember, this oil bolt is special designed, because the spring is there, and then there is a filter. You can notice that something strange has happened, because that hole is open. The oil can flow freely through it, if you like. Inside this bolt there is a spring. Why is there a spring? Because there is a small valve that is pressed by that hole down, and when it is down, it opens this channel here, because the oil filter seals off here, also there, so the oil is going in and going out there. Inside the oil filter it goes back here and here into the engine. Okay, why should that be possible? Why have they thought about it? Because, let me explain. When this oil filter clogs up and it's blocked, the engine will cease. Let's hope that the oil still is good enough to lubricate your engine, and the pressure is too high in this filter. Then it flows inside that channel, inside the oil filter, and comes there out. But it's not filtered. Now we know when it happens, normally the engine is very bad and it kills the engine anyway. So I see now this is not a common ring, so I throw that away. I do not know where they has used it. It's not a common ring. Okay, it looks like a ring of the gearbox. That's exciting. Why they have used a ring of a gearbox on a filter, oil filter, I don't know. So, ja, zeg maar.
Ze hebben de auto daar staan. Lang parkeren.
Oh, okay. Sorry, some information about family. They come from holiday back. So the oil filter, it is possible that it clogs up, goes in, goes out, goes in, because the valve is there. It cannot flow freely through this bolt, so it has to go in, and out to the engine. That's why it's so complicated. Maybe you can see. Ow. There you can see the gap, it is open. You can see the screwdriver is going through and that is open. Now it's closed. That's all. That is why those oil bolts or oil filter bolts are so expensive and very important. Yes, something learned about that. I throw this away, I don't need it any longer because they are not to my standard. So you noticed everything I will undo by hand, because when I do it with air wrench it will go too fast and probably I break some bolts. This front engine cover I will use because the clutch cable, connector, finger, hand, fixing point, whatever, it's still in good shape. The other one was broke, so I throw that engine part away, and this one is still good, so I'm going to reuse it, and those parts I sell on my site. Oh look, there is oil coming out. Fuck it, it's always the same. There is always some oil left in this engine. So something is wrong here, but that should be no problem at all. So there's a spring and a sear clip that keeps the whole part together, but when you remove or when you leave the sear clip out of the engine it should be not a big deal, but please install it. It's still dripping oil. Yes, it is. But you're not looking downwards. I have a very special thing to say about the clutch. Those parts here are not common available any longer, because sometimes it breaks inside. Why it breaks? Probably, yes, I've done it once. Probably the owner or the technician makes a failure, because when you undo it you have to turn it in the right direction, that's one, and also you don't hang on it, you have to push the key on this place that the turning point is in one direction and one line with the part, and when you apply too much force and will hang down, it's not a pivot point any longer, it's a hanging point, and then it will break. Normally I explain to undo the bolts step by step. I do it now a different way. So remember, with installing the clutch you need always the same bolts. I find different bolts inside the clutch, and that's not the thing to do, because when the bolt is too long it hits something inside the engine. When the bolt is too short it's too skinny and the point inside will break. Use the right bolts. Now you see, I'm not doing one bolt at a time. Remember, every bolt has its own spring. But when you undo 3 bolts, the last one has 4 springs to keep on one place. That's not fine, that's not happy, and it does not want to do that, because it's not a pivot point, it is a pressure point and it will break. So that's very important to remember. And I do like to send the parts away for plating, zinc plating. Yes, also the springs. Those springs, sometimes I get some questions. They want a better, thicker spring that press harder. I do not understand why, because when you need more pressure on the clutch plates, there is something wrong with the clutch plates. Those springs are always in good shape. If they are too short, too long, doesn't matter. If it has worked in your engine, please keep in mind never to replace those springs. Use the old ones, the right ones, the correct ones, and then you have a nice fine clutch that is operating by a woman, also possible by a woman. And when you have good clutch plates, you don't need a lot of force. When the stuff is slipping in 3rd gear with full power, remember, the springs are not the problem. Maybe this point, one of them is broke, that's possible. But normally those plates are old, they are dirty, and they are shiny and hardened by time and oil products. When you change them for new ones, remember, full throttle, let the clutch go, and you drive one way on one wheel, and that's the back wheel. No problem at all. So, believe it or not, when am I killing those engines? Yes, killing them. Take them apart. Look inside. It makes my head empty. It's satisfying. I don't know why. Maybe I'm stupid. That's possible. It feels good. Stainless steel bolts I don't use because the tension is not right. I want to do the original bolts. I think this engine in the middle is right, and also the crankshaft is thinking it does not run a lot of miles. Looks great. And also the oil is on my hands. I think this Castrol, because when I get that on my fingers, it's slippery. It's slippery. Yes, I know, I don't make those movies for everyone, only for the people that wants to show them, or to see them. That's fine. Something is used. Look. Why? Now I cannot use those bolts, because with sandblasting. So I now know this engine is taken apart previous. Rubbish. But this one is correct installed, so I do not worry. When I rebuild an engine, I don't use the old clutch plates. I always use the new ones. So, I think I've undone all bolts, so it should be going off now. I also see that the oil pressure switch is a later version, also used on the 650 engines. Yes, that's fine. Fine. Doesn't want to go off. Okay, apply a bigger force and break the damn thing. That's not the right one. Now leave it, no problem, takes off later. So, the front engine cover should be available to come off now. Ready for sandblasting? Maybe. Sounds great. Sounds great. What do I see? I see oil. Oil, voila there. And I see a little problem there. This one is not. They have used a lot of. That's not the way to do it. Sounds great on the ground. So, this is normal, don't worry about that. There is always movement, don't worry. I don't see anything strange here. So, I take the oil pump out of the engine. That's the lovely part. Those bolts can put very strong, how do I say that? Sometimes you hear noises when you undo them, like air pressure behind it. They can be very tight in the engine. So yank it and they will come out of your engine. They never break. It's strong. Those engine bolts and oil pumps are very good. There is almost no problem with them. Sometimes when the engine is very destroyed, the oil pump will also cease. But it's unbelievable. Those things work very hard and they can go for a long time, do the job so easily without any problems. Remember, there is a small hole somewhere. That is for lubrication of this axle, and when you pump something in fluid, there it is. It will give a mist and spray out. That's normal. So, thanks for watching. See me next time on the next movie, and then we figure out how to kill this engine. Bye bye.